Welcome, everybody. I'm Rob Locasio. Oh, can we get the mic real quick?
Hi, I'm Anand Kanan.
And I am the founder and CEO of Kid Company. These are my children, Leonardo, Lorenzo, and Mirabella with an iPhone, as you notice, as parents, right? Yeah, go ahead, keep with that iPhone.
Yeah, here you go. You can have my Samsung Galaxy.
So we want to talk about today is the creation of a new device for parents and children alike. Before I founded Kidco, I ran a large company called LivePerson. If you ever chatted on a website, I invented chat on a website back in 1997, and then built a company, took it public. But last year, I decided to do something different. I left that company after 28 years and decided to build something for my family. And as you can see, this is what happens when we give our kids an iPhone. Here I am talking in a public space, and they don't even know I exist.
No, I know you exist.
Thank you. Okay, he can hear me. Now I'll show you, I'll give some more examples. But Anand also has a son.
Yeah, so I have a 10-year-old, and we have discussed this before as well as parents, that it's hard as the kids grow with phones, and as they age, they are totally invested in the phones. So they spend time watching YouTube, they're playing Roblox, and it's all consumption of data. So we have all seen this happen, and it's more prominent as they age, because you can see that they are completely isolated with their phones.
So we decided, and Anand's running the hardware, so I had a vision about how do we bring the power of AI to our kids? And I thought about that, which is, right now, as you can see, they're consuming. I didn't even preset this up. I just hand them the phone. They don't know what's going on right now.
I know what's going on. You're talking with the kid in your ear.
Okay, great. Barely knows what I'm doing. But you can see, this is my 3-year-old. And look, he's 3 years old. He got on the device. So if you notice, Jonathan Haidt, he's an NYU professor who wrote this book that just recently came out about how these devices are destructive. We've always blamed social media and all that, but what he found is that as the iPhone evolved as a device, as it got a front camera, you will see a hockey stick of children suicides, depression, not because of Facebook, it's because iPhones gave them a camera, and they start looking at themselves. They made it so easy for my child, a 3-year-old, to just get online without me. So we all know this if you're a parent. I'm not here to lecture. We all know the problem. But what I felt like is I wanted to see if I could solve it. And so what I set out to do was build a company that would tap into the other side of the brain, which is the creator side. As much as these kids look like they want to consume, they love to create, but they don't have a device for it. So we wanted to create a device that's their device, that we as parents would feel safe that they could use that device and create images and movies and music and storytelling and all of that. And then on the other side, as a parent, you can control it with an app and direct them to do things. Like for my kids, every day I got to tell them to go make their bed. It's so frustrating. But the kid device could say, let's do a game called Make Your Bed. And they wake up, it's got a screen and a camera, and they could go over their bed, and the kid could say, I'll rate you a 3 out of 5 for making the beds because there's all these wrinkles on the bed. So I wanted to think of a way in which we could empower the kids. Look at this. I mean, it's like, once again, this is the life that you as a parent live. Now watch this part. And this is the part why I believe we can drive change.
Okay, there you go.
Now, you know where this usually goes. You even felt it. Tell me you didn't feel it as a parent. When I grabbed it out of his arm, you felt like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, but something bad is going to happen. Addicts. These are addicts. This is what this is. And so, look at this. This is just not my kids, by the way. So I think it's important that we also develop something that creates a relationship that's healthy between us and our kids and doesn't get between us and our kids. Okay, So let me show you a quick video, then we'll talk about what the kid device does.
Here.
Go over here.
Yeah, come here.
So, so basically, when we thought about Kid, as you can see, it's broken into a couple of different pieces. One is the ability for a child to talk to the device through natural language and create things like music and movies. Here, watch the device.
Here.
Here, right here.
Or is it actually
That's how we get our kids to focus, right? So basically, it gets our
Here,
kids
here.
to create music and movies and games all by talking to device.
Wait,
We have a booth over here, and kids have been coming up and creating images of the most amazing things. I just saw an image of an elephant with chicken legs. You know, so you imagine what? Did you have something? Oh. So basically, when we thought about the product, we thought about that part of it. The second part is about parents. There is a parent app, so if you have homework or you want to give your kids something fun to do, they can do that also. And so you could basically direct the kid to tell them, okay, make your bed, brush your teeth. Or you could take homework, like I take homework that I get home and I take the PDF, I upload it into the app, and it creates a game or it creates a history lesson for my kids. So it's doing all these things. And then we have story time at night where you turn the device upside down, it glows, and it'll tell stories to the kids. And so, once again, we really want to tap into the power. The reason we wanted to create a device versus an app for a phone is just this, is that, you really don't have control once you give them your device. So we want to give them something that's safe, that they can own. The other thing is we have cameras, but the cameras don't do photos, they don't do videos. They bring in images. So if you have a dog, they can bring in the image of the dog into an image that they're making or a story. But we packed it with a lot of technology. And we packed it in a way that we can bring AI in a safe way so that your data and everything is not taken from your home. So I wanted to have now talk a little bit about what we're doing on the hardware side.
All right. So, can I have the devices? All right. So Rob talked about the idea behind Kid device. For the idea to mature and become a product, the hardware needs to be robust enough to handle the processing of the voice, processing of the object detection, all the camera feeds, as well as you need good sound, because we want the kids to create music, we want kids to create stories, and that to sound good, because that's how kids love it, right? Kids don't want bad creations. So we pack it with a lot of horsepower. We have a Qualcomm processor inside. We have 4 GB of RAM, onboard memory, and we have about 32 GB of onboard storage for all their creations. In addition, we have strong Wi-Fi connections. We have Wi-Fi chips which connect to your home Wi-Fi, and we pack it with a lot of security. So all the data is encrypted before it hits the cloud, and then it's decrypted back after it comes back. And the data of your kid is basically residing in this device. So we pack so as a parent, if you have kids, you can specify the age group of the kid, you can specify the details of the kid. All that is storing only in the device. And the creations are moderated for that age group. Because my kid is 10-year-old, Rob's kids are younger. The younger kids want creations that are catered to their age group. But my 10-year-old doesn't want to have a image or a story that is relevant for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. So based on the age group, we also moderate the content that they produce. So there's a lot of onboard, on-chip AI processing that happens, as well as we split the workload. Processing happens in the cloud, and some of the processing happens on device, but all the personal data is stored on device. So it's secure for parents to give it to a child and make sure that none of the data gets out of your home. As a company itself, Rob, and as we've discussed this, we had a broad vision of how AI needs to belong to the families. Currently, if you look at all the AI content, people take content from the web, scrap it, and that's how all this Gen AI stuff is happening, because all your data is what is used to train these models. So every data that you put on the social media or on the web gets scrapped, and that's how all the models are trained. But ultimately, the actual data is yours as families, us as creators. So we want that to hold true when we do release this product. So all we want to do is give families the power to create these ideas and empower their kids, but keep this data within your family. So that's how this device is created.
So we're going to start selling these in January. We're going to pick 30 families from here at the Maker Faire to work with. And we have a different vision of how this company is going to be built. I was in AI for a very long time, building chatbots and everything. Like if you were at Delta Airlines and you did automation, I built all that technology with my company. But I felt like there's a better way to build an AI company just from what I know, and that's creating community around it. Instead of like selling these things on Amazon, and they come in a box in your home, we really want to start more from the ground up with families and start having families work with them, STEM programs, robotic programs, and then we'll build it out from there. But what we're doing now here is at the Maker Faire is just, we have a booth. It'd be great to have you come over. We're bringing together 30 families to start in November. Then we'll have 500 families from there by January, and we'll build it from there. As I said, like, it's hard to make change in the world with many things, but when it comes to making change, it's around pain. And as you know, if you have children, there's a big pain point with us and our kids, but there is a solution for it. And we're building that for you guys. We're building it for us, because we feel that there's another way, another place to do that. AI, to me, is powerful when it's part of a community. It's built by us. It's based on what we want. We understand it's safe. Our data stays in the device, and that's the future that we want to build. So from there, if you have any questions, I'll open it up to questions. Once again, we have a booth over in the middle and near the water, but I'll open it up to any questions right now. Questions? Anything? Yeah. Here, he's got the microphone.
Who had a question?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks. This is Felix, and I do admire the presentation. That's pretty impressive. I guess my question is for that product, at what ages that you designed for the children?
So we're designing this right now from the age of 3 to about 3 to 11. But when you get the device and you download the app, you can set the children's ages, and so it will tailor the content for the kid, for the child, for its age at that time. So if you say I have a 6-year-old son, the way the device provides imagery, storytelling, homework will be for a 6-year-old. If I say I have an 8-year-old daughter, it'll change it for 8-year-old daughters. So it can go further, but we see right now 3 to 11 is what we're seeing.
Hi, so I see you have 2 sons, 2 different ages. I have 2 questions. First is, how indestructible is it? Having a son that's 7. And secondly is, how much time do you see your kids, I assume you're using it in-house, you're eating the dog food. How much are the kids using it in your house? And how have you seen the change from the, can I have your phone, to I want to interact with this?
What you see is that there's something that I I never really understood until we had them start playing with the software. It's that I just assume that consuming like what they do is the best thing that they like to do, and it's not. They actually like to create things. They like to create imagery. They like to create movies. They like to create things with the stuff. So what I found is that the creator parts were more powerful because it comes from them. It's from within. So when they see an image from themselves versus they're seeing that image on YouTube from someone else, there's something that taps into them being excited, you know, and being it's a part of them, and that's what AI does. So I don't want to make it an addictive tool either. So how do we, once again, but I also think like if we tap into creating, learning, those parts of them, okay, then it's okay for them to put 2 hours into it a day, 3 hours a day, as long as they're not consuming. And also, I see a big shift in my kids' personalities when they use these devices. They get angry times when you take it from them. Something changes with them. They get very aggressive. But when they create, it's a different vibe. They don't have that kind of energy. So I think, you know, now the things we're playing with is like, make your bed in the morning, brush your teeth. And there's things that we can do with the device that are kind of interesting. One of the things we're working on right now is also when they turn on the device for the first time, a character gets built for them. And they have their own character that then they can take into journeys. They can take into story time with them. And then you as a parent can give them things to do, and the character gets better. They can get more things to build that character's personality. So there's a lot we're working on with them developing a relationship, but more of a healthy relationship with it. So that's the kind of part. I mean, part of it is because I'm a parent. Like, I have a vested interest in not harming them. And you probably, you know, I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't feel good when they use these devices. I feel like I lost. I really feel like I'm a loser. Like, I feel like I'm hurting my kids. And so the biggest part is creating something that I know we give to them now that I don't feel bad. I feel like, okay, they're doing cool things. So.
Any more questions?
Hello, this is JY. Thank you for presentation. Being a father of 2-year-old, I really appreciate the fact that you put a lot of emphasis on safety, which is great. But one aspect of safety which you didn't mention is on the safety of the content, right? So kids ask all kinds of questions, and we know there are small watches company for kids, right? People and their users ask questions that's like you know, very sensitive, right? And the watches give the kids very negative or morally incorrect answers, right? So how do you cope with that? Do you put in screening or filtration on contents, and how do you do that? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we use a vector database. We rag the let's call it who they are as people. They're 6-year-olds. It's a boy. Whatever you want to put in there. 6-year-olds, right? They each have a personality and they each have their own profile. But we put that into a database so that every time we go and use the model, we're using the model, constructing it with model knowing what type of person is trying to get information out of it. So they can't do something derogatory and they can't get something back that's outside their age group too. So the other thing is, as they grow, they'll grow with the device because the device will know now the 6-year-old's a 10-year-old. Okay, I'm going to change the content on them. But we filter basically because we put in, this is a 6-year-old. And this is who they are. And it knows not to take in certain things. Or it'll even say, I won't do that because you're using bad language. So I had a parent yesterday also asking for a feature of, what if we could put sort of the values of our family in there? So one guy was telling me, like, we want to tell our kids about being kind to others. So every time the child does something on the device, he could say, you know, Mom and Dad, this is kind of what's important to them, being kind. So there's some things that we want to build into the parent app to enhance. Now the parent app, what's cool about it too is you can see everything that's being created from the kid. So it's there in a feed. You can share that if you want to, but you get to look at it. If they want to join up friends, and because friends could share something, they've got to come through your parent app. So you have control over who they're going to share content with. But the good thing is this doesn't hook to the internet as we know it. It's within its own kid community. So that's how we keep it safe.
Got
Thank you.
plenty of time for more questions.
Any other questions? Okay. Oh, one question here.
Can you repeat that question on the microphone, please?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, is the software proprietary to your device, or can you use it on your current iPad? Also, is the parent app, can that be controlled separately, like through an iPad or from another device?
Yeah, so the parent app runs on iPhone and Android devices. So that's like a traditional app. But the software here cannot be taken off here. The software only runs within the kid device. So it's written for the technology. It's in here and the hardware. So we have a camera in the front, a camera in the back, and an array of mics and very high quality speakers for stereo because we know sound is important. So the child could be talking to the device and activate the back camera to look at something in front of them to do an object detection. What is that? Or say, hey, here's my dog. I want to bring my dog into a story. Or here's homework like that I'm working on. What can I do with this? So that's why we put the cameras in. But the software is written specifically for the kids, a kid OS for the device. Also, we put these little holes on here. So, and there's also like a little screw hole here like you would have on a camera. So we know parents are going to come up with, and kids will come up with all sorts of things. Like people have been talking about incorporating this on a doll, or I want to use it on another type of toy. Or somebody they printed out a 3D print of a steering wheel. We have a picture of it at the thing. And so they made a game where you're driving. So they said, I want to build a game where I'm driving on a track, but they made a steering wheel, and as they move the device with the wheel that's printed, it moves the screens, the image of the screen. So there's a lot of cool things we thought about with the actual physical part of the device. It's going to be pretty, there's a limit to indestructibility. You were asking, like, if a kid, and if they stick it underwater, it will break. But we built it in a way knowing that there's no parts. Like, I was originally thinking more like robotic, but they break. So it's these two parts. This does nothing, but it'll come in multiple colors. And then this will be a plastic, but it has a rubber sleeve on it that's very cushiony. One, if it falls, but two, it's really nice in the kid's hands. So we were thinking about, the physical aspects of the device too. So.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of thought that gone into the IDE design. Like Rob had a lot of inputs on that. And it's all based on how it feels for a kid. So the device size itself is in their palm, right? So we didn't create something in a rectangular form factor of a phone for a reason. We want kids to feel like it's their device. It has its own individuality, personality, and they can cater it to their needs. So they can build stuff and then really.
Yeah, and that's why we could have done it, we did larger screens and all that, but it's really perfect. Here, take this in your hand 1 second. So they can hold it in you can hold it in a single hand. You can do different things with it. It's like perfect for 3-year-olds, for 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds. But so the screen's small, but it's still the beautiful color. You can see we have 2 real devices at the booth, but it's got vibrant colors and great sound. The one thing we wanted to make sure is we could pack it with really good sound, good bass, because children love music. And we're all built with that music inside of us. It's part of our humanity. So we have really good music on it. So we're not cheaping out on anything, but we're delivering it at $199. You want this? $199, and we're going to do $20 a month, and that gives you subscriptions to all the AI creations. So you get all access to making audio, and the songs are beautiful. You could say, I want to make a song that's a blues song that sounds like Led Zeppelin or whatever. They probably wouldn't say Led Zeppelin. It would be something more modern. But it will make a 3-minute piece of music that sounds like a band. And then we're working on that. If you have 3 or 4 kids in a room, they each can make this an instrument. So one could be drums, one could be guitar, one could be singing, and they would hit the device, and do things with it and make instruments. So one of the things is that you can see these devices are very much a solitary event. And one of the things we want to do based on the brand of community, how do we get these things work together? We've been talking to teachers, imagine there's 10 or 20 of these devices in a classroom. A teacher says, I want to reenact a scene from the Civil War, I don't know. And each of the devices takes on a character, or whatever they want to do. Each of the devices could be something, or you break the classroom into different parts. So these can become an educational part of learning too. there's so much we could do with these devices, and they're non-deterministic. We do not have an app store. It's just programs out of people's imaginations. So the person who made the driving program, they thought about, can I make a driving program that would allow the screen to look like a highway? There's not an app store. It's your imagination is the app store.
And the whole idea is we are just scratching the surface. We have discussed this, right? Kids are going to come up with innovative things. We as parents have thought of some of the things, but they will come up with innovative ideas. That's what we want to do ultimately. We cannot see what every kid is doing, but we want to bring the imagination of the kids onto the device. So you are going to see like really creative stuff happening with kids.
So I'll ask my daughter a question. What do you like better, an iPhone or a kid?
Kid.
What do you like better, iPhone or kid?
Kid.
Okay, there you go. Okay, we'll keep them in the family then. So we want to thank everybody. You want this? Yeah. What would you like to say? It's on.
All I want to say is thank you for all of you guys coming here.
Thank you, everybody.